My name is Felicia Crowel, formerly Felicia Elbert, and I pledged in the fall of 1985.
And my name is Chris Crowel, and I pledged in the spring of '86.
I studied computer science, and I started in 1984 and graduated in 1988.
And I studied agricultural engineering. I started in '84 and finished in December of '88.
I'm originally from Indianapolis.
I'm originally from all over the state of Indiana, but just before Purdue was Plymouth, Indiana. Been married how many years? Since '94. You do the math. About 29 years.
29 years. We met at the Reamer Club, or in the Reamer Club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the best experiences, my best experiences in the Reamer Club.
We were friends for a while. And then, I don't know, just interest showed. I don't know.
And I actually, she was picking on me, so I hit her with a piece of paper, a single piece of paper, and I had to end up buying flowers for her so she would talk to me again.
Well, but it's the people you're spending time with, right? And so how can you not? I mean, like Joe, his wife was a Reamer, my best friend.
Yeah. And you have common interests,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, you really do.
You care about traditions, you care about Purdue sports, you care about all the things that the club does.
Yeah.
And just time and proximity. And you eventually wear them down. Well, we had the opportunity to attend one a couple of years ago. Our son Wyatt is now, or was in the club, he's graduated now. They are strikingly similar. The same sort of layout, the same agenda. One big difference, we didn't have projectors.
Yeah, there were no PowerPoint presentations.
There were no PowerPoint presentations, there were no laptops. And we also didn't have Roy Johnson attend our meetings.
I don't remember mine. I remember being blindfolded and walked through tunnels, and then we went to a farm locally, and there was a big campfire.
It was all very mysterious.
It was very mysterious. Yeah, I remember tap out more. I remember getting woken up in the morning. You decide then, are you coming or are you not? And so you go, and then there were blindfolds again. And then you're standing on a stage and you're unblindfolded, and they say welcome, and then they feed you breakfast and send you on your way. So that was kind of cool. That was kind of exciting.
Similar experience for you?
Same experience. Who can make a decision like coming out of a deep sleep at like 4 a.m? Yeah, I'd say my proudest moment was being on TV and not getting expelled. Chris, how could that be? We decided, because football attendance was lacking, to try to generate more excitement before the game. So there was this tradition called the Spirit of IU. So we went and got a canopy, a mannequin, and dressed the mannequin in a wedding dress to make it look spirit-like. And we just encouraged students to attend the game that weekend. I was told that we could do this as long as the spirit was not burned in the bonfire that happened at the end. Unfortunately, 8 people on the back of a train cannot hold back 1,000 people. So I got to visit the dean's office and spend some time with Dean Hicks. So glad to say I was able to graduate.
Mine was probably being pledge parent. It was cool to take these people and just these kids. Well, they weren't really kids; they were only a couple years younger than me. But just work with John, my pledge co-parent, and we would. I don't know, it was just fun to see them and teach them the traditions and kind of see them bond and see them grow as a team together. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah, probably the biggest thing in that era was the creation of the traditions book. So traditions are a big deal in the club, and a couple of folks spent a lot of time researching those traditions, and then another couple of folks got in and actually enhanced it. So that traditions book is just a great reference piece for a lot of people. Yeah, I guess the other thing I would add on the club in that era, we were self-supporting, so we did not have any university funding. So we were maintaining the Boilermaker Special. We were doing all these things without any assistance from the university. So we did that by selling buttons, believe it or not.
Parking lots.
And working parking lots, and then just however else we could find small jobs to generate money for the club. My favorite tradition is the Boilermaker Special. Just amazing to see people's reactions, whether it's a parade in small hometown Indiana. All the queens usually got to ride with you, so there were some benefits of being able to work with some pretty classy ladies. But definitely the Boilermaker Special.
Well, and in line with that tradition, we had the Boilermaker Special at our wedding. So it came and it drove us from the church to the reception, us and the wedding party. So that was kind of cool.
As I mentioned, classic ladies.
Yes, there you go. Mine's Lions. That's the first thing that popped in my head. And I think part of it is, it's just, I think it's cool that it was a drinking fountain and now it works again. But I like the fact that we would gather and sing in front of it. I always thought that was kind of a cool tradition. So my favorite memory is I was a co-pledge parent with John Kane. And I don't know if it was a tradition at the time, but for some reason the pledge class decided they were going to throw us in the Wabash. I assume it was the Wabash. And I had a big project due that night. And so one of the other roomers, I was staying with him, and he heard word that they were looking for me. So he hid me all night so nobody would find me so I could get my project done. So that was kind of cool. They did retaliate and get me like a few days later, but.
Yeah, so my favorite memory, the Boilermaker Special we had was the 3. By the time we were in the club, it was over 20 years old. So it was not reliable to go on super long trips. So we decided we would start carrying it on a flatbed trailer, tractor trailer. So I'd made arrangements to get one in. Dad brought his tractor trailer down, and he said, now find me a loading ramp, but he didn't tell me how high the flatbed was. Well, there was not a loading ramp on campus that we could load the Special. So frantically calling around, found Caterpillar, Bob, the maintenance director. Hey, Bob, do you have a floating ramp that we can back up to and load this thing? So we actually got to drive the Boilermaker Special through the Caterpillar engine plant here in Lafayette. So maybe the only college mascot that's been in Caterpillar manufacturing plant. So that was pretty cool. We then got to Iowa and came back and got to do the whole thing over again. I can say a little bit. So the Reamer Club, I think, is like a house with many rooms. Very cool opportunity. So if you're into wanting to develop your leadership, there's a place to do that, right? Many leadership positions within the club. Maybe you're really into traditions and you want to learn about them. That's all part of it too. Maybe you're more the social type, and so you get to hang out with like-minded people. Maybe you like cars, or being a rock star and driving the Boilermaker Special through a parade. That's an option. So there's all these different avenues that you can pursue in the club.
I don't know, I just think the club was, it was, you come in, and I think we were sophomores before we could pledge at that point. And you come in and you're still kind of lost and trying to find your place. And there's just people that, again, you can go to football games with, you can go to basketball games. Going to basketball games was a blast. I mean, we all sat together and cheered and yelled, and basketball was good then, versus the football times. But it was still fun. You got to hang out with people. And again, leadership, if you wanted to do that, you'd find roles that you learned how to do certain things. I think I was the treasurer, did P-lots or something, where I had to figure out how to manage the money. And so I think you learned a lot of skills that you could take with you in life, but you made friends. You made good friendships. So having Wyatt at the club was neat. And we didn't force it. We just said, it might be interesting, you could drive the train, it's all kind of sports, and he's a huge football fan and stuff. And so he's made some great friends through it, and we got to hear how the club was doing, and that was neat because 35 years, things change. And they invite us back to a meeting, and we got to hear you know, how things are different now and how nice you guys are to the pledges now.
Yeah, and what college student doesn't want to have some alumni parents there to bring cold, refreshing beverages and free food?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, and that was what was interesting was he made friends with some people, and then he calls. He says, "Hey, you know, I met this guy. I think you know, his dad was a Reamer when you guys were a Reamer," and sure enough,
Yeah.
so,
And now they're best buds.
they are best buds. So our pledges. It was a big class. I want to say there was like 12 or 14 of them. And there was a group of a few guys, Dave, Bruce, Bill, and they just like to have fun. And they like to have fun with the actives. And so there was always something where John and I were like, you guys, you got to back it down. Or, you know, we had to go, okay, you can't get in trouble. Or, you know, we had to go to the actives and say, okay, it's all right. We're taking care of this. And so, but they were great. They had fun, and they were fun to be around, and they were a good group of kids.